All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Friday. Um, it's 10 o'clock, so we'll get rolling here. First of all, just I want to thank you for giving up some time on a Friday morning to tune in and see what's going on. And as a reminder, if you've got the live chat box there, please enter any questions or comments, and I'll try to address them as I can. So, a few things that I want to talk today about is I want to talk about kiddos that come to school and have some symptoms. I want to talk about our new checkout procedure. I want to talk about our arrival and dismissal time. Talk a little bit about PTA. I want to talk about our open house format for this year. And we'll talk a little bit about masks and also some resources that we have available for families. So we'll start with students who present symptoms while at school. So we are being very vigilant and very tight on any student or staff member that presents any symptom at school. So the following symptoms will cause a student to be sent home. So the symptoms are a fever with a temperature greater than 100, chills, cough, shortness of breath or difficulty breathing, body or muscle aches, fatigue, headache, new loss of taste or smell, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, congestion or runny nose, or a sore throat. So in the past, we've had some wiggle room here where a kiddo might come down to the office, complain about a stomach ache or a headache. And we'd say, get a drink of water and let's lay down for a few minutes. And then we try to get them back to class and push through the end of the day. We cannot do that this year. So kids or staff that present any of those symptoms, whether they're self-reported by that student or by a staff member who observes them. So if a staff member sees a kiddo, coughing or struggling to breathe, or a kiddo who is trying to sleep in class, that would be considered fatigue. Those types of things, or runny nose, we have to send those kiddos home. That is something we have to do to make sure that we can continue to have school in this format. I, for one, certainly don't want to end up in a remote situation again like we did last spring. If we do end up in a remote situation, we definitely are a lot more prepared and organized for it than we were last spring. So I do feel like it will go much better. But I would much rather have live instruction in the classrooms the way we are doing it right now. So we need all of your help to make sure that when or if we give you a call and say, kiddos presenting some symptoms, we need you to come pick them up and take them home. Now, students can return 24 hours after the symptoms are no longer present. So if we send a kiddo home at 10 o'clock today because they're complaining about a headache, obviously they're ready to come back on Monday morning as long as they don't have any more symptoms. Now, if we send a kid home on 10 o'clock on Monday or Tuesday, they would not be able to return until 24 hours after those symptoms have gone away. So they would not be able to return the next morning. They could, however, return the next day at 10 o'clock because then it has been 24 hours if those symptoms were not present once you got that kiddo home. So we're going to be very tight on that. So just please understand that's something we have to do in order to continue to have school in the format that we are having it. So thank you for your understanding on that. So I did talk a little bit about, kiddos after 24 hours of no symptoms can come back. But what if they continue to have symptoms? Then what? So I think the recommendation would be you are the parent, you know your child best. So if you feel like those symptoms are problematic, then you may want to choose to take your kiddo to the doctor. Now, if your doctor or medical professional does have your child take a COVID-19 test, the child will not be allowed to come back to school until those test results come in. Then if those test results are negative, we just need that documentation. And then we just revert back to 24 hours symptom free. So if you get tested today and you get test results on Monday and there haven't been any symptoms present since, Saturday night or early Sunday morning, then that kiddo's good to come back Monday morning. Now, if the test comes back positive, we are following the recommendations from Riverstone Health, which would be 10 days since any symptoms first appeared. They obviously would have to have, the symptoms either completely disappeared or improved with some a release from the doctor saying, the kiddo is okay to come back to school. And then again, the 24 hours without any fever, and that also includes without any fever reducing medication. So again, if a student does or staff member does test positive for COVID, we need documentation from the healthcare provider or Riverstone Health saying that they are cleared to return to school. So please know that. Also, please expect that we will probably have teachers out a lot more this year than we have in the past, because in the past, our teachers have been very dedicated to work through many different kinds of illnesses, colds, sore throats, migraines, all those things. But for this year, as teacher that presents those symptoms will need to go home. So I just want everybody to be aware of that. Our checkout procedure. So when you come to get a kiddo, whether it's because we called you and they're ill, or because you're coming to get a kiddo because they have a doctor's appointment you need to get them to, whatever the reason may be, when you get to our door outside, we want you to ring the bell and talk to Karen or whoever's in the office, so we can get that kiddo down from their class. And then while that kiddo's coming down, we're going to have you remain outside and use the link, the QR code with your phone. So you can just hold your camera up to that QR code. You don't need to take a picture of it or anything. Most camera phones will then just pop up the link, and then you can go to that link. Or you can use whatever web browser you have on your phone to type in the link that's on there manually, and that will take you to a form that you just fill out just like you would the paper and pencil form up in the office. So this allows us to do a few things. It allows us to not expose you to anything that might be circulating in the building. It also ensures us that people who are coming in to pick up their kids aren't bringing anything in with them, especially if you're coming to get a sick kiddo. There's a chance that if they're sick with something, you probably have some of those same germs. So we're just trying to limit the amount of people in our building as much as possible for the safety of everybody. So, and if you get confused when you come to do that, Karen or whoever else is in the office can definitely walk you through it. And if you don't have a smartphone, just let us know and we can work through that process with you as well. Okay, arrival in the morning. So by now you've probably figured out or learned that we have first and second graders coming in our southwest playground door. So we're asking first and second graders to be dropped off in the alley by the basketball court and come through that gate. We have third graders coming in the parking lot door. So we're asking the third graders get dropped off by that door through the parking lot. Kindergartners, we're asking them be dropped off out front to come in the front door there. And fourth and fifth graders are coming through our southeast playground door. So we're asking those parents to drop them off on 4th Street West there at the very end of the bus zone there close to Broadwater. Now, if a kiddo is having breakfast, we are asking that those kiddos come through the back door on Wyoming. And this has been going pretty well, but we've had a few kiddos who have been a little confused or forgot. The reason for that is that just limits the amount of travel that those kiddos are doing throughout our building. So if first or second graders is having breakfast and they come through their first or second grade door, they're going to go all the way through the building to come over to the cafeteria and then all the way back. So we just want to limit the traffic through the building as much as possible. So once those kiddos are done with breakfast, we are sending them straight to their classrooms. So breakfast does start at 7:45. So if the kiddo is eating breakfast, they can come at 7:45. We will serve all the way up to 8:10. So any time in there is completely acceptable. However, kiddos who are not eating breakfast, they cannot come until 7:55 because that is when we have ample staff available to supervise them. And then at dismissal, we are asking parents not to park in the bus lane. I have approved a couple of parents that run daycares out of their homes. So you will see some cars up there, but know that those parents have permission from me, as well as the school buses and some other daycares as well. We want parents to park and walk in, so you can park over at the church across from the street on 4th here. You can park anywhere in the residential area. You probably won't find a parking spot in our parking lot. It doesn't even typically have enough spaces for our staff. So park in the residential areas or the church parking lot and then walk over and pick up your kiddo. That just helps keep everybody safe. We also ask that when crossing our streets, use crosswalk guards and use the crosswalk zones as much as possible. What we see a lot of is people crossing in front of our building, coming across from the alley next to the church. And that just sends a signal to all of our kids that are observing that is a safe way to get across the street. And it is definitely not. So please help us model good and safe behavior for all of our kids. Also, dismissal time for primary grades K-3 is 2:10, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. So please be here on time to get those kiddos. And then on Wednesday, it is an hour earlier. For 4th and 5th grade, the dismissal time is 2:50. Wednesdays is an hour earlier. Our staff have a lot of different duties and responsibilities after school, and we need them available for that. We don't have the capacity to continue watching the kids much after that dismissal time. So please make sure you have arrangements worked out to make sure your kiddos have somewhere to be and somewhere to go and someone to pick them up at dismissal. PTA, our PTA always can use the help of other members. Starting last spring, we started having virtual meetings, so it's really easy to just, you don't have to go anywhere. You can just get on the PTA meeting from your device at home and contribute that way. So you can reach out to Broadwater PTA at billingschools.org to find out how you can become a part of that PTA and how you can participate in those meetings. Reminder, Monday is Labor Day. We do not have school. There will be nobody at the school, so please do not send your kiddos. Also, we do have some resources available if any of our families are struggling with, having enough food or maybe shelter. If you have any, extraneous needs that you're struggling to meet, please call the school and ask for Mrs. Alpers. We'll get you to her email or her voicemail, and she can help direct you towards some resources. And then lastly, I want to talk about masks. Kids have been doing a pretty good job wearing their masks. As all of you have seen, the numbers in our community of the positive COVID tests has been rising. So we are just going to continue to do the best that we can to make sure that everybody is wearing their masks while they're in the building. So I've been going around reminding kiddos a lot about that. So we just need your help from home to remind kiddos as well. We also need your help to remember to send them with their mask. We do have some extras here at school, and we've been handing those out on a daily basis. Also, if there's anybody out there that could donate some cloth masks, we use those for kiddos who show up and don't have a mask, and then we get them back at the end of the day from them and wash them, and so they're ready for the next day. But the more we have, the better we'll be able to provide that. So cloth masks, if you want to donate some, that'd be great. All right. That is, oh, I need to talk about open house. I missed that part on my list there. So open house, we will have a virtual open house for the first time ever. So we will be sending home a flyer sometime probably later next week that will have information on how to access that virtual open house. That open house will be held on September 17th. So each one of our grade levels will have a different time slot. So if you have, several kiddos, maybe one in kindergarten and one in second grade and one in third grade, you'll be able to get onto each one of those live streams and see all those different teachers so you can know what's going on in their classrooms. We will also record all of those sessions and we'll send those out. We'll also post those on our website so that if you are working that night or can't watch those for some reason, you can always come back and watch the recording later. If you don't have access at home, then you can always pop by the school, the following week sometime, and we have a device at the office available where you can just sit down in our office area and watch that. Again, we're not letting parents past our office. We also need any visitors that are coming into our building for any reason to make sure that they are wearing their masks as well. Otherwise, we won't be able to let you in. All right. So any questions for me today? I'll hang out here for, a couple of minutes. So if you have any questions, please pop them into the box and I'll do my very best to answer them for you. We did have our first ever virtual assembly this morning. We had all the classrooms join us on Zoom, and it was definitely different than in the past, but it worked. So you might want to ask your kiddos how they liked that. I'd also love to hear, any feedback you're getting from your kids when they come home too. What they're liking about school this year, and maybe some things that they're not particularly loving about school this year. Some of those things we obviously won't be able to control, but some we might be able to find better ways. So always look forward to hearing from the kids and the parents on how things are going. Also want to remind everybody that if you hear something or see something that is concerning, please pass that information on to us here at the school so we can make sure that we are able to address it appropriately. A lot of times kids won't report things to us. They'll come home and report them to you, or you might overhear them talking to their siblings about it. So please don't ever assume that we know everything that's going on. Please pass any of that information on to us. Also, if you hear your kiddo talking about something that, just maybe seems not quite right, or something that's too good to be true, those kinds of things, please call us and contact us and make sure we can clarify and confirm anything that doesn't seem quite right. And we'll do the same for you too. If your kiddo comes into school and seems to be telling some kind of story about you or something that happened at home, we'll call it and make sure we get clarification and confirm something as well. All right, I don't see any questions popping up into the box there. Thanks, Michelle. Thanks, Jessica. I will continue to Fridays at 10 o'clock throughout the school year. I'll continue to jump on here on YouTube and give out any information that I have. And it's always a good time just for a little Q&A too. So tell your friends. Hopefully they can join us. I always send out the recording later as well. So you can always catch the recording also. All right. I hope everybody has a fantastic weekend. We'll look forward to seeing you all soon.